Okay, so someone please tell me that I wasn't the only one thinking about the death of a bachelor. Letting the water fall. The death of a bachelor. Seems so fitting for. Tell me I wasn't the only one thinking about that song when they heard the title of this show. No, I was the only one? Okay, whatever. Hey, what's up you guys, it is Tyler. Welcome back to the Tyler channel. Welcome to another video. This is the review of the pilot episode of American Crime Story, the assassination of Gianni Versace. I went into this, I was pretty excited for it. If you guys know, American Crime Story is basically, it's not a spin-off, it's kind of a separate universe from American Horror Story, which is basically the show that came before it. American Horror Story most of the time is hit or miss with their seasons. American Crime Story is kind of new in a sense that their first season was in 2016. We haven't seen a second season until now. First season, amazing. I can't say enough great things about the first season, which was the I believe it was the trial of O.J. Simpson. It was just amazing, well done, cinematically done, dialogue, everything was there. And I was just entranced and encapsulated and just very much interested in every single episode we had. It was one of those things where it's like every episode meant something. And I'm going into this episode and I'm like, I'm excited. I'm expecting the same thing, and I can't sit here and say it didn't deliver. This was a great episode. A lot went on. It seems like we bounced back and forth between present time and past time, so it looks like you had to pay attention in this story. I think there's a lot of great storytelling. I think a lot of the cast, I feel like a lot of people were casted correctly. You had Edgar Rodriguez playing Gianni Versace, which was basically such an uncanny resemblance between the two. I mean, I don't know any of these guys. I've never seen any of these guys before, really heard of any of these guys. I don't even know who created Versace until like a few weeks ago when the show came out. I knew his name was Gianni Versace. Andrew Cunanan, played by Darren Criss, I feel like is a perfectly casted for the role. If they're going for this very convoluted and turning into kind of a psychopathic type of guy, I feel like they're really hitting the nail on it. They did a really good casting with that. You have Penelope Cruz playing Donatella Versace. All around, I feel like this episode was greatly put together. But just so if you guys did not catch the episode, I have some notes for you right here on my very much cracked the shit phone. I managed to take notes on it, and I forgot to pause the show. I'll be right back. I just went to pause the show and it kept on pausing, so I had to mute it. But I took some notes here on my cracked the shit phone, so we're going to go over these notes. So we start off with the show. We start off in set time of July 15th, 1997, which was 3 months after I was born. So that's cool. So it starts off with Gianni Versace. He's kind of in his grandiose, very big mansion. A very big mansion. Oh my god, this guy's living life, but very much deserving. If he could create everything that Versace comes with, then he deserves to live in that very insane mansion. You have all these sculptures and just everything is just perfectly lined up. It's just beautiful. Like, I can't, like, it's stuff you would see in fairy tales. That's what he's living in. He was living in a fairy tale. He had all these people who work there and dressed in all this Versace wear. It was just very cool nonetheless. He goes out onto his balcony and he's staring out into his view. He has a perfect view of the beach. He's looking onto the beach and he kind of sees this guy. We get a shot of this guy on the beach. He's with his backpack. He's kind of laying on the beach. He goes into his backpack. He pulls out a Vogue magazine and then he pulls out a gun. It's like, oh boy, bad intention. rather than going to shoot somebody, he first goes out into the ocean without the backpack. Goes into the ocean, screams into the ocean, oddly. And then I guess we see a shot of him running into the bathroom and throwing up. Maybe he's a bit disgusted about what he's about to do. But in the midst of this, Gianni Versace leaves his apartment. He goes to the news cafe nearby, gets some issues of Vogue, a lot of magazines. I guess he's looking at his competition, so to speak. Takes all that, heads back into his mansion, where the beach guy comes in the picture. He's starting to head into his mansion. Beach guy comes behind them, pulls out the gun, shoots Gianni once, I believe. I don't know where he shot him, or if he missed, or if he actually hit him. But he shot him. Gianni turns around. He's like, no. And then he pulls out the gun, puts it to his head. Boom. Shoots him right in the cheek muscles. When we get to the intro of the show. And I thought it was pretty interesting because you really usually don't see a show start from the end. Because usually you would think that, oh, we're starting from the beginning, we're leading up to like the finale, which is the death of Gianni Versace. But it was the very beginning of the show. We saw him dying. It's like, okay, very interesting direction we're going in. And then we go to 1990, and I'm like, 7 years earlier? Okay. We see the same beach guy in a gay club. He's kind of scouting out with his friend. We don't really know what he's doing. He's kind of there chilling. Then he gets a VIP pass, goes to the VIP section, where he comes across Gianni Versace. Gianni Versace's kind of crowded against some other gay men, talking it up. And this guy is really trying to get his attention. He's like, hey, Gianni Versace. And Gianni, he's like, hey. And he kind of just brushing him off the whole time. And he keeps on trying to get his attention with all this talk. And Gianni's like, I don't know who you are, bye. He kind of starts telling like a story about his mom or whatnot, and Gianni kind of gets entranced in it. Next thing you know, he sits down, he starts having conversation with each other, and it seems to all be going well. But it turns out this is a story that he's telling to his friends. I really don't know the names of his friends, but that happened kind of in the past. And now he's telling the story to his friends, and his friends are like, oh, that's such a good story, whatnot. And he's like, well, Gianni Versace invited me to his opera showing, and I am going. And he's all uppity about it, whatnot. So that's kind of vibe I'm getting from this guy, at least. Now, we do have to make note that in this kind of part where he's talking to his friends, he does say that he's not too infatuated with Gianni Versace's like clothing line. He says the colors are too bright, but he's going to the opera anyway because he's going to get his name out there if he gets in talks with a bigger name, possibly. Networking. You know how all that stuff works. So he goes to the performance, and watches it. Pretty good performance, tears in his eye. The ladies putting on such a great show. He stays after the show. He's kind of observing stuff. He's on the stage. He's playing with a little bit of the cello. He's standing in a spotlight. Then Gianni Versace kind of walks up to him like, "Hey, did you like the performance?" And he's like, "Yeah." And they're kind of shooting the shit, having a bit of a conversation there. And it seems like everything's going well with each other. It looks a little bit like at first Andrew was trying to seduce him, but that was just kind of the way it's the way like when someone looks at you and it's like they're very interested in you, and then they give you that look like they're very interested in you. That was the look he was giving him. So he was kind of seducing him without seducing him in a way. And I'm like, we about to do a sex scene. I feel it coming. It's American Horror Story. It's Ryan Murphy getting a sex scene. I can feel it. And I'm like, sex scenes in American Horror Story used to annoy me to no end. I'm not disgusted by them, but I could do without them. But we didn't get one. I was pretty shocked, nonetheless. Then we hop back into 1997. We're back at the spot where Andrew shot Gianni, and he's being chased off by one of his servants. And appears to be one of his servants. He runs off, servant chains after him, then another servant comes out into the fold, and he's like crying over Gianni's body. Now he's attracting all these people. They all see what's going on. He's trying to get people to call police. Police is called, all that kind of stuff. Now, one of the servants runs after Andrew, but Andrew kind of scours him away with his gun. He kind of holds him at gunpoint and runs off. Now, he sees his face, so I guess he is able to tell the police what it looks like, and they kind of assume who it is. I guess that's how they end up finding out who did it. So Andrew successfully escapes. So he goes to the parking lot, runs into his car, and it looks like he's crying. He's regretting what he did, but next thing you know, it's like tears of joy, and he's laughing and beating it like excitement. And I'm like, wow, he's proud of what he did. I'm like, okay, so now I gotta know why he's proud of what he did. Then we're kind of bouncing back and forth between Gianni being in the hospital. They're rushing him into the hospital. They're trying to pump blood into his veins. They're trying to get him to breathe. And between that, we're seeing Andrew kind of Andrew's the beach guy, by the way. We're seeing Andrew kind of scurry away from the police. The police at this point are chasing him down. He changes outfit throughout this, which is kind of smart. He changes into a red shirt. He's on top of a building. One of the policemen scouts him out. He goes to the top. Next thing you know, they get to the top. They find him. They're running after him. They pull him down. And it turns out it's not actually Andrew. It's a decoy. I don't know if this guy was working with Andrew or if Andrew came across a guy coincidentally with the same shirt on. So he's like, hey, run in this direction, please. I don't know. I think it was probably just a decoy. But nonetheless, Andrew successfully gets away from the police. And Gianni Versace, of course, dies from his wounds. So, he dies from his wounds, and now Andrew takes a taxi back to his hotel room, back to a hotel or whatever, wherever he was staying. I don't really know. He takes a taxi into a hotel. He goes there. He sees all over the news. They're talking about the assassination of Gianni Versace. That's the name of the show. They talk about the assassination of Gianni Versace, and this lady's like gasping, and he's kind of gasping too, trying to like, play along with it. But under the gasp, you can see kind of a smile, and it's like, this guy's so full of shit. Now, police and forensic scientists are showing up on the scene, where Gianni Versace died. They're trying to get as much information they can from the servants. They come across one of them, the guy who was with Gianni as he was basically dying, trying to salvage him. And they kind of take him in for questioning, and it's reviewed that guy that they got him for questioning is Gianni's boyfriend, or so we're told. So he thinks he is. We don't know exactly. He says he's Gianni's boyfriend. In the midst of this, Donatella Versace, which I believe is Gianni's sister, comes into frame, which is pretty interesting. I really don't know much about her either. She comes into frame in a jet. She goes down there, and she kind of gets the police to leave, and she starts talking to the servant, like, what did you tell them? And he's like, I didn't really tell them much, but everything's gonna unfold soon. So yeah, she gets the police officer out of the room. She's talking to the guy, and she lays it down. She's like, look, I don't care if you were his boyfriend, his husband, you do not talk about Gianni to the police unless you consult with me. And she leaves the room. I'm like, damn, like a boss. And then it seems like she goes quickly into a business meeting, like literally as soon as she had like a conversation with like the police and the husband, like Gianni's boyfriend. She goes into this into like a business meeting with people. I guess they're investors in the Versace company. And since Gianni's dead, it would obviously go to his sister, I believe. It might be went to his role or something. But they're trying to sell the company, and they're probably trying to pull out. And she's like, no, we're leasing it, and we're staying as a family company. So basically, she takes over the Versace enterprise. And while this interview is going on, there's a guy on the outside of the building, because there's paparazzi and people scattered around everywhere, and he's putting out a statement on the death of Gianni Versace and whatnot. And they're talking about how there's basically a nationwide manhunt going on for his suspected killer, Andrew Cunanan, and how the Versace family is not in any way, shape, or form associated with Andrew Cunanan. Then basically kind of like the final 5 minutes of the show, we see this lady who I believe talked to Andrew Cunanan maybe later in the day, or was leasing an apartment or something or whatever to Andrew. She kind of calls the police, and she's like, look, I know some information on Andrew Cunanan. He's staying here. He signed up here. All this kind of stuff. She basically directs the police to where they think Andrew is staying. They ransack into this guy's room, and they run in there, and it's not Andrew. It's some guy named Ronnie, and they're like, do you know this man? And he's like, no, but he kind of gives like this smirk, like he probably does know who he is. And then the final shot, we see Andrew in yet another different outfit walking up to the same cafe that Gianni walked up to in the very beginning of the episode. Camouflage, he has the hat on, the glasses. He walks up there, and he's buying all these newspapers with him on it. And that's how the show ends. And I'm like, that was really good. Strong way to start off the strong pilot episode. I really liked it. I'm very much interested to see where the story's going to go. And one of the interesting thing about this is that you could go in and you could research, you know, what happened and everything, and, you know, kind of spoil it for yourself. But I did not research any of this going into this show as I did with the O.J. Simpson trial. I didn't research anything O.J. Simpson related. I'm not going to research anything Gianni Versace related, so I'm just going to let it all come naturally and just cover it as we go along. So hopefully this gets a good amount of views, because if it does, I'll stay reviewing the show, whatnot. But as it stands, I'm not going to keep on repeating the same thing. I thought it was a really good episode. I would give it a solid 8. Solid 8 out of 10. Maybe 8.5. I don't think 8.5 might be a little bit too generous. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I would recommend you guys go watch it, especially if you're looking for a new show to watch. Ryan Murphy definitely outdoes himself. It's really very much different from anything American Horror Story related. And I recommend you guys go out and watch it. Oh my god, this is terrible. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. I love you guys as always. And make sure you guys subscribe to this channel, like it as always. And I'll talk to you all later. Peace out.